Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I may not be able to answer everybody's questions during this workshop. We have about 2 hours only. I would suggest that when you're putting in your questions, drop in your email IDs so that later on, Divya will share all the questions with me and I'll try to answer every one of them individually. Okay. Whichever I can answer during the session, I will. The ones which I can't, I'll make sure that I answer them later on. Okay. So great. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so let's start with the zero cost strategies to increase revenues for any business. Now, Divya has already introduced me, so I'm not going to waste more time. But for those of you who are interested to download a copy of my ebook, it's free of cost. You can go to coachingforbusiness.in and download the book. This webinar is based on the book itself. So those of you who are readers can go ahead and read this. And I have also recently completed a certification program with Harvard Business School. This is meant for early stage organization. I'm continue to study and to work with organizations across the globe to keep on increasing my own knowledge and experience so that I can share it with more and more people like you. Testimonials, if you go to my LinkedIn, you will see a copy of all of these things. Again, across the world, these are people whom I have worked with and have them in their businesses. Now, today with this group, let's see where do we start. So I'm sure all of you have heard about the 80-20 rule. What does it say? That 80% of the results that we get are actually coming in from the 20% of the effort that we are putting into our business or into any action. So now keeping that in mind for our business, what it says is that we are only doing a few things every day on a repeat mode that makes us maximum part of our money, right? So wouldn't it be great if we knew what that 20% was that is giving us that 80% result, so that we focus on the 20% and make sure that we try to increase the 20%. So ultimately, the impact will also be multifold. So let's identify what are those 20%. Now, for any business, irrespective of the size and the vertical or the industry that they are working in, there are 5 areas that make up your business, your 20%. First one is by getting more leads. Second one is by getting more conversions. Third, by getting more transactions. Fourth, by asking for higher prices. And the last is more profits. Simple, common knowledge, common sense, nothing great about it, and it applies for every business. Now, it becomes interesting when we understand each of these areas. How do we do this for our own respective business? But before that, why are these 5 areas, which is called the core, why is this important? Is because when we make small incremental changes in each of these areas, they produce big results. Remember, 20% effort and 80% impact. It's only on these 5 areas. So today I'm going to cover examples on each of these areas and how you can increase your sales and revenues. And most of them that I'm going to be talking about do not require additional investments from your side. So before we jump into specific examples, I'm going to run through something called a profit growth calculator. Okay, so here's what the profit growth calculator shows us. Now let's take that for any business. Remember the five areas we spoke about. Okay, so let's start with leads. This is an hypothetical situation where a company, an organization, let's say for example, they generate 1,000 leads per year. And out of those 1,000 leads, they have a conversion rate of 25%. That means every year they are able to attract or sign up with 250 customers. Now, each of these customers, if they transact with this business for 10 times in a year at a per transaction fee of 1,000 rupees, okay, and if the profit percentage for us is 25%, simple calculation, our profit for the year becomes 6 lakhs 25%. I'm keeping it very simple so that we are able to explain the example. Now let's see what happens if we increase each of these areas by just 10%. Okay, so our leads from 1000 become 1100. Our conversion ratio from 25 becomes 27.5. That's 10% increase on 25. That means the total number of clients that we are signing up here becomes 303. Transactions from 10 becomes 11. 10% of 10 is just one, so that becomes 11 transactions. That means we're able to convince the customers to buy from us one extra time throughout the year. Pricing also we are able to increase by 10%, and our profits also will increase by 10%. When we improve each of these areas by 10%, you just notice that the total on net profit for us increases to 10,659. That means our annual profit increases by 61%. Now see what happens if we make the same example, but we increase each component, each of those 5 core areas by 50%. Our profits from 6,25,000 have become close to 500 crore. That's about 47 lakhs over here. Now I'm sure whenever I show this number, everybody says, hey, it sounds very good theoretically, but it's very difficult to make a 10%, forget about a 50%, even a 10% increase is very difficult. And I'm here to show you at least 8 to 10 different ways in where you can make this improvement in each of these segments. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with the leads. How can you increase the number of leads? Now, to begin with, how many of you are generating leads from your website? If you could just put up your hands. I'm not very sure how much I can see here. How many of you are using website and they are able to generate leads? Can you see my screen? Somebody was mentioning that they cannot see the slides moving. Divya, can you see my slides moving?
Yes, very much.
Okay. So I'm asking the question, how many of you are getting leads from their website? Okay. Somebody is getting from paid campaigns. Okay. Others? So if you do not have a website, that's the starting point for you for increasing your sales and marketing or increasing your leads. Make sure that you have a website, and I'll show you some examples of how to build that website also. Okay. So just give me a moment. So I want you to sit and think through. If you have a website, do you know how many leads your website generates every month? And do you know how many of those leads get converted into sales every month? Now, for those of you who are not using website, but are using social media like Instagram pages or Facebook pages to do your, that is your face to the customer, then you can replace the website to your Instagram or your Facebook page. Okay, so the idea is whatever digital address that you have, the main digital address that you have, look at that and say how many leads are you getting and how many of those leads are converting into sales. Now, the main thing for us, for any marketing, there is always one thing, that is a very simple statement that you start with. There is a conversation that is taking place in the head of every prospect that is there. And what we need to do as a business is to ensure that we are a part of that conversation. So what is the conversation that is going on in the head of all the prospects? First one is that each of their prospects out there, they have some problem. Okay, they have a problem, but they do not want that problem. And they are looking for a result, but they unfortunately do not have that result, right? So there is a problem that they have that they do not want. There is a result that they do not have, but they want, right? This is what is running around. And that's why they become a prospect. Okay. Now, believe it or not, in marketing, there is a simple formula. It's called the conversion equation that takes this problem and this result and converts it into an equation which we can use to get a higher success ratio with your marketing. And here's what the conversion equation says: interrupt plus engage plus educate plus offer. All these four together is equal to good marketing. Now, let me explain what does it mean by each of these. Interrupt. All our prospects out there, your prospects, my prospects, every prospects out there is busy doing something else. They are not sitting around waiting for you and me to sell to them. They are living their lives. Okay. So what you need to do is to interrupt them when they are doing, when they're busy with other things. You need to get their attention. Like, you put up your hands and get the attention of the speaker or the teacher or anybody. You need to interrupt them. Okay. And that is what in marketing language is equal to your headlines. The headlines should interrupt whatever that they are doing and capture their attention. That is called the interrupt. Second one is the engage. Now, the interrupt typically, the best interrupts are the ones which are based on the pain areas or the problem areas which they are facing. Okay. And then comes the engage. The engage is the result that you are promising that you can deliver, honestly deliver, to solve the problem that they have. So they have a problem. The identification of the problem becomes a part of your interrupt. Engage is how will you as a business address that problem, becomes your second. That's almost like a sub headline. Okay. And then the third one is the educate. Educate is how you will solve the problem. So if you see, interrupt is the problem. Then we've got the engage. Engage is the solution that you have, and then we have educate. Is educating them on how you will actually solve that problem in a manner which is better than the competitors. Okay. Now, most businesses, when they're doing sales and marketing, they do the first two things very well. They do the interrupts, they do the engage, but they forget to educate. They forget to tell the customers how they will solve their problems in a manner which is better or completely different from what the competitors are doing. Now, this is important because this is the time when you differentiate yourself from the competitor. If you do not do this, you're telling the customers or a prospect that this is your problem, this is the solution, but you're not telling them why they should come to you to solve that. This is the third stage which most businesses miss out. Okay. And only when you use the educate piece of it is when you're identifying the unique. I will explain what is a unique buying proposition. It basically means the USP, the unique selling proposition from the customer's perspective. And then the last piece is the offer. The offer is why they should buy your product or your service from you specifically, and why they should buy it from you immediately, right? So that's the offer. So 4 stages. Now, depending on your business, each of these stages may be very long or different, or it could be very, very, very short also. Okay. So, for example, if you're an FMCG product, the cycle is much more shorter. But if you're a B2B enterprise software, it takes a long time. So it's possible that some of these stages are collapsed for you. But overall, these are the 4 stages. Go back to your marketing and see if these 4 stages exist within your marketing campaigns. Now, coming back to the offer, there are different types of offers. I think, and most common that all of us hear about is we have attractive, special offers, 1-day sale, bonuses, 100 risk reversal guarantee, etc., etc. Okay. Now, these are the most common offers all of us are using. Unfortunately, what's wrong with these is all of these offers are called the now offer. That means when the customer is ready to buy now, these are your immediate customers, potential customers. These offers have a good impact. And only the reality is that only 1 to 3% of the total prospects out there are in this category of now customers. Let me explain that to you. So this is the 3 stages. We have a problem and a challenge. The customer has a problem or a challenge. They're looking for a solution and the result, and then they identify that they're going to make the purchase, right? The reality is that 2/3 of this, before they make the purchase, there are 2 stages in which they are always seeking information. They are actually making a series of decisions. The final decision of purchase is a result of a series of decisions which they have already made before. Okay. And only then they take the action to buy. Now, unfortunately, when we talk about the sales, bonuses, risk reversal, these are all coming under only the last stage, which is where we're talking about the now buyers of 1 to 3%. The rest, which is the future buyers and the soon to be buyers, which makes 2/3 of your business, or 97% of the prospects out there, are not even addressed by your current offers. This portion, and this is a stat which is on Google search. So Google search says that 72% of the searches which happens on the platform is about information which is being sought to make a decision, and only 28% is information on purchasing. So that means you're addressing a very small percent of the market with your offers. So what we are looking at is, look at which of your businesses actually can create a marketing strategy which is related to the information which customers are seeking. And these are the future and soon to be customers. So your marketing strategy should not just be for the now customers, but also for the future and soon to be customers who are seeking more of information. And that's an example. And I'm sure most of you will see this is a reason why content marketing today has become so very important, because they are actually looking at addressing the 98% of the customers, 97% of the customers who fall on the future and soon to be buyers. Okay. Now, let me show this with an example of what we did for a company. This is for a child psychologist, and this was his old website. And if you see in this is he's a very highly specialized person in this, and he's got lots of offers that lots of areas through which he's able to help children who are going through some psychological problems. Right now, this was his website. Then what we did was, he came to us saying that I'm having people who are coming to my website, but I'm not getting enough of leads or closures. So help me with that. So this is what we did. First thing we did was we changed his website and we created something called a squeeze page. Okay, this is a new website. Now, what did we do? Remember, I spoke about the formula. So this one over here is the interrupt. Are you sick and tired of yelling, screaming, and hostile attitude of your child? So this was the headline. It addressed the pain area, the problems which parents were facing with children who had certain challenges, right? The second one is the engage, where he said, what is he promising? That I can help you control your child and instantly restore peace and quiet at your home. That's the engage. So headlines and the subheadline. Now, the second, if you go back to the old website, you will see that what was his offer? He was saying that you will find tons of hundreds of great information with hundreds of pages of articles. Now, the reality is, while it's a great amount of information, today's busy parent does not have the time to go through hundreds of pages to figure out how to solve his problem. Right? So what we did, we changed the script, and we gave the doctor a new script in that over there, and said that, one, if you see the last paragraph, it said that I'll be just give me your email ID, and I will send you a series of 60-second techniques that will immediately restore peace and quiet in your home. So compared to now, if most of whoever parents over here, the thought of reading through hundreds of pages of material to finalize, to understand, address your challenge, vis-a-vis looking at a 60-second techniques read up which you can implement and see if it's working for your family. Which one? Obviously, it's very obvious which one you will choose, right? So this is what we did. The other thing that we did was, his offer again was a free consultation for that, where you can have 30 minutes, which is where I'm talking about the now buyers. Whereas here, what we have done, while the free consultation continues to be available for the now buyers, we also, the offer of content, 6-second technique content, also addresses the need of future and soon to be buyers. So this is what we implemented for him. So I need you to go back and think how many of you are using only the now offers, and can you create information offers for your customers, for your prospects also. So this is another key learning that I wanted to make a note of, and think through how many of you can use this in your business. Okay, now let me show you what actually happened when we did this exercise. So this is a funnel. So let's say that in the old funnel of this doctor was running organic ads on Facebook, and from there he was getting 300 leads per month. From there, he put them onto his website, and he was getting, out of that, he was getting a 10% of those leads were getting converted into inquiries, which is 30 inquiries. Okay, out of those 30 inquiries, again another 10% signed up for the free consultation. And because he was a very good doctor, every time somebody spoke to him, he was able to convert them into signed up clients. So there's 3 new clients. Now see what happened. That means with an overall equation conversion rate of 1%. Now see what happened with the new website that we created for him. So the Facebook leads remains the same because we did not touch Facebook. Okay, but with the information offer, the number of inquiries increased. So let's say it increased double. It just doubled it. So it became 20%, which is a 6. Now he got 60 inquiries. From there, how many of them got converted into consultation? We're keeping the same ratio of conversion as 10%. So he got 10 out of 60, 10%, 6 for free consultation, and everybody signed up. That means it's a 2% conversion rate. Now, if you just take, okay, I'm using dollars in this example. Just imagine the currency as rupees over here. So just imagine if the consultancy, each consultation's fee was 1,000 rupees, and he was with this 3 new additional clients, he was able to generate 3,000 per week additionally, and also that is 12,000 per month, and about 1,44,000 per year, just by doing this one change on a squeeze page for his website. Okay, again, this is an existing website. We just made these changes over here, or we added one single landing page. Could be either one, which one. So you can try and see what we can do for your own business this way. Okay, now food for thought. Think about how many leads you have generated in the last 12 months. How many of them have actually gone for the offer that you're providing? And then if we can create a similar process for your business, how many customers do you think will actually respond? Okay. So that's the first thing. Any questions on this before I move to the next one? Any questions on how do you convert? How do you start looking at creating a compelling offer, which is based on information, which will generate more leads from customers who are potential, who are soon to be or future customers? No questions? Okay, then I'll move on to the next one. The next one is joint ventures. And I'm sure most of us is again very familiar with joint ventures. Now I'm going to use the example of how smaller organizations, SME organizations can use joint ventures for their business. Of course, large companies are always doing. Tata Tata Group has done joint ventures with Singapore Airlines, with Malaysian Airlines, and they've bought in Air Asia, they bought Vistara, all of those over here, right? Big companies are always doing this. Suzuki has done it with Maruti. They're all big ventures out there. But you and I can also create joint ventures to give us, to increase our business as such. So let's take the example here. First of all, whom should we do joint ventures with? We should do joint ventures only with other businesses who are addressing similar clients as you are. Okay. And they should be some relation to what the customer is looking for, right? They must be related. I'll explain that to you how. I'm going to use the example of a florist. Now, the florist is something which is a part of a event chain. What does it event chain means? This is the series of decisions a potential customer makes. So now let's take the case of a marriage. Now, when somebody is getting married, what will they do first is that they will first buy an engagement ring. Second, they will, in Indian context, maybe they will have they'll have a pandit or the pujari or somebody who astrologer who will say what auspicious date and time, right? Then you'll either hire a wedding planner or you'll figure out wedding halls, the venues, reception venues, clothes, etc. Florist will come later. Okay, after that you will look at the wedding cake or your the caterer, and then you will look at printing the invitations. So there's a series of decisions that your customer is going to make before they decide on the flowers. Now, in this case, everybody who falls above the florist can give business to the florist, and everybody who is below the florist can actually get references from the florist. Okay, so what I want you to think about when you're doing this exercise is to think about, in your case, for your customers, what are the series of what is the chronological order of the decisions that the customer is doing before and after they purchase the product or service from you. And you identify those businesses now become your potential list of joint venture partners. Now, when I did this exercise about last year with a lab in Pune, this is a biopharma lab. I did this exercise, and he actually identified his joint venture potential before and after. And today, he's one of my success stories because he has signed up for pan-India businesses. They're a training organization with the Pharmaceutical Association of India by exactly following this model after my session. So this is a proven model in India too. Now let's get back to the florist. So just assume if the florist obtains just one referral each month from any one of the businesses above him, and that's very much possible. I'm being ultra conservative. Just one reference from either the jeweler, wedding planner, wedding hall, reception, wedding dresses, any of these guys, just one reference, if he or she gets it, okay? And he is able to give a reference to the people after his decision-making cycle, right? If he's able to give each one of them a reference, see what happens. If the average sales price for the florist is just 30,000 and he gets one referral per month from anybody above the cycle above him, he increases his business by 3,60,000. And if he gives a reference fee to if he earns a reference fee, for example, to with the others, even by the same 10%, he can earn approximately 12,000 or another 24,000. I'm just giving you broad numbers. So if you see, he earns money by giving references as a commission. And I've also seen some people say, I don't mind, I don't want to go and get a commission, I'm just happy to give a reference, which is fine, I'll leave that to you. It's going to be a nominal amount, but the bigger amount is you getting one reference per month from any of the vendors above you. So if you see with this, his annual revenue is easily increases by 3,96,000, and this is by just work. This is just by working through one cycle like this, and this is for marriage. Imagine he does the same thing for others, like your and we have a lot of such celebrations within our country. So if you're looking at aside from marriage, we're looking at a child being born, opening sessions, all of these. There are so many different sessions which Valentine's, etc. All of these which can become a part of the program that the florist is doing. So I want you to, like I said, make a list of potential JV partners, okay, and think about how many references it's possible for you to receive and to give them, okay, and see what impact can that have in your annual profit. This is very interesting because a lot of us do not think about we don't know how to identify the joint venture partners, and this is a simple method. Think about your potential customers, think about all the decisions that they will make before they buy your product or service, and after they buy your product and service. Put them in a chronological order, like we did it for the florist, and that will give you the list of your JV partners. And if you go back to the florist over here, if the florist actually also creates a content, okay, remember we spoke about the information offer, and shares this with all the people, with all the joint ventures, and asking them to in turn share it with their customers or potential prospects. This is another way for him to get more leads. So going back, connecting the dots between joint ventures and information offers. So let's see. Question: don't we have to change strategies for each market based on customer behavior? So the broad strategies, CB, I'm just giving you examples of the broad strategies which you can implement. The specific of it, now what offer are you going to make? What content are you going to share? What percentage are you going to give to your joint ventures? Or what's the hierarchy of the joint ventures? All that will change for each of you. And the offer that you're going to give, if you have different customer segments, the offer would also change, right? Yes, you're right about that. So now let's move on to the next one, which is more conversions. Now, how many of you have heard about downselling? Is anybody using downselling in their business? Okay, so let me explain what downselling means. Downselling is when the business gives an alternative offer to a customer, okay, when they decline your first offer. Remember, downselling is not discounting. In this, what is happening is, let's take this as an example. When you go to a gym, the first thing when you go to a gym, they will give you their annual package. When they see that you are hesitating to take the annual package, they will tell you to go for the 6 months package. But if the annual package is, for example, let's say 12,000 rupees, but the 6 months will not be exactly 6,000. It can also be 7,000. So they have downselling you. They have not given you a discount. Instead of 12 months, they're reducing the value. Instead of 12 months, they're giving you 6 months. They're talking about 6 months, and also proactively, reducing the price also. But it may or may not be as cheap as a 1 year one. Okay. Now they see that you're hesitating for 6 months also. They will try and tell you, why don't you go in for the 3 months? So 3 months, instead of it not be 3,000, maybe 5,000. If they see that you're hovering for 3 months also, then say at least come in for 1 month, right? So what are they trying to do? Their agenda is to get you to come and start using their premises. They're using their equipment, so that once you're inside, they can convince you to change your 1 month into 3 months, 3 months into 6 months, etc. Okay, so the agenda of downselling is to ensure that the prospect converts into a client. So either you get a small profit from them, a small benefit from them, or you all, not only that, but you also get an opportunity to to get inside their business, inside their head, start working with them, so that you can do business with them in the future, or increase the business from 3 months to 6 months to 1 year. So that is called downselling. Okay, let's take the same example of the florist. Let's just say that I'm sorry, I'm using the dollar thing, so just convert that into rupees. Now let's say that this one has to this florist has, it's Valentine's Day, and he has a bouquet of 12 roses for 2,000 rupees, and he sees somebody who comes in for and hesitate to pay that 2,000 rupees. So instead of letting that customer go, he says, hey, you know what, I have another bouquet of 500 rupees, but instead of 12 roses, they are they're only, let's say, 5 or 3 or 4 roses in it. Okay, now the idea is that the customer wants roses, they've come here for roses, they may not be able to afford the 12, but I'm sure if they see that there's another offer, there's another bouquet is available for 4,000 for 500 rupees, they will pick that up. Now just imagine that this florist uses this downsell offer only once a day. It's not available for everybody. It's only available for those who will reject your original offer. Okay, so if they're rejecting the 2,000, you still want to do business with them, you reduce the value and you reduce the price. Remember very clearly, this is not discounting. Okay, and if you just use only once, what happens is you will increase your revenue by 1,82,500 by just using this 5 downselling, which initially, if you did not have this downsell ready with you, you would have not earned this money at all. Okay, so this is another way, and I'm giving you the example here of only Valentine's, but you can do this for weddings, festivals, birthdays, anniversaries. You can create a downsell offer and keep it ready. For those of you who have a sales team, think about this. If they have an alternative downsell offer ready with them, and if they realize that they're unable to convince the customer with the original product or price point, then they can fall back so that they at least get some business out rather than lose a customer completely. So the idea is to think about your current price point and see what alternatives that you can come up with half that price. And remember, not discount, you're reducing the value. Okay, and think about how many of these you can actually sell it each week, each month, and that will add up to your revenues. Any questions on downselling? Any questions on downselling? No? Okay. Shall I move ahead? Guys, I cannot see you. So Divya, you'll have to tell me if there are any questions or something that I'm missing out.
Yeah, and no questions so far.
Okay.
You can go
Great.
on.
Okay. The next thing that I
one question is there.
Okay. How do you downsell training services? Arina, thank you for that question. So again, the thought is on your training services, what can you create, which is what can you create, which is like a smaller offer? Can it be a half a day session, which is at a lower price? Can it be online, like a webinar format, which is at a lower price, and rather than rather than a physical one, can you make it into a webinar format and say it's very nominal fee, and this is available. Join us on this. And if you and during that webinar, you talk about how you can, sorry, not webinar, during the online version, then you can talk about how you can, the physical versions will have much more ideas and much more value that the customer can get from them, right? The idea is to get some business with them from a lower price point.
Two more questions.
Yeah. Munmun, again, downsell in this one. In your case, for example, Munmun, since you're in the jewelry business, if a customer is not ready to buy a full-fledged jewelry set, is there a possibility that you can, position a smaller piece of jewelry so that they at least get them buying from you, buying one item from you, one small item from you. In fact, online this is being used very aggressively. I don't know how many of you have seen this, right? Online, if you go to some of the e-commerce sites, if you have spent some time looking at the product and you are just about to close the window without making any purchase, suddenly you will see a pop-up that comes in and says that, would you want to look at another product, which is actually generally it's going to be cheaper. It especially happens when you are going to a business which is having only one product. I mean, one type of product. So for example, if you're going to buy, let's say, I remember this was with I'll give you an example. Recently, I did this with a pet shop owner, okay, a pet shop for products, like food. So what this company did was, and they were a digital platform. When they notice when a customer comes to buy and they don't buy it, and just before the browser goes, they can see the browser going towards the cross button to close the window. Immediately a pop-up comes and says, why don't you buy our samplers? Okay, now the samplers are smaller pieces. They're just 100 grams of whatever the food is, and so that the customer can try that out. And if their pet likes it, then order for the bigger amount. So they actually use the sampler, which is generally what we would do in the physical world, but they converted that into the digital world also. So same thing. Think about which of your product can you offer at a low, which of you have a lower price product or a service that you can offer that will ensure that the customer gets engaged with you in some amount of business. And once they start, doing business with you, you can slowly try and upsell them up. Okay, I hope I've answered those questions. Do download the ebook. There are a lot more examples in the ebook of downselling. Remember, downselling is not discounting. Discounting is you're giving the same product at a lower price. Downselling is you're giving a smaller portion, a lighter product, or a vanilla product at a lower price. There's a difference. Okay. Now, the next question that I wanted to think about is that most of us have this. Okay, when the customer does not buy, and the prospect doesn't buy from us the first time, we don't follow up with them. We let them go. We are so busy going behind the next customer that we let them go because this customer is not a now customer. But the reality is that 80% of the prospects out there will buy from you only when they come across your brand or your product between the 5th or the 12th time. So again, 1 to 3% are the only one who are your now customers. So if you meet somebody and they're not ready to buy from you, and you are not in touch with them, you lose touch with them. They're actually going out, and when they meet other brands, other businesses, again and again, time and again, they come across them. By the 5th to the 12th time, they will make the decision and buy. So what I want you to think about is, how many of you, is the next key that I'm giving you for successful marketing is how many times do you actually follow up with your prospects? And this is where we use the solution of a drip campaign. A drip campaign, I'm sure most of you have heard about this before, is that it automates the communication that is going on with your prospects. Okay, and it is predetermined, it is pre-scheduled. You have a series of let's say emails already written out, and you're going to be sending it out to people on a regular basis so that they are in touch with you. Now, today's social media platforms are actually designed for this very purpose, so that you are in constant communication with your customers also. So for those of you who having social handles and you don't post often enough, this is you're going to be losing out on this, because you have a platform which is automated for the drip campaign, but you're not using. The ones who do not have, consider email as using email as a drip campaign. And I'm going to show you an example over here. Remember, we spoke about the compelling offer, which is especially information based offer. That information based offer is what you can actually distribute it and make it into a drip campaign. So again, I'm connecting the job points with what we've spoken about earlier. But let me go back to the child psychologist. Remember, this is the numbers that we spoke about him earlier. Now, when we say that he was getting 300 leads, and about with a new campaign, he was able to convert them, 6 of them, into customers. Okay, and this was happening month on month. So what does it mean? That out of this 300, we still out of this 300, 60 of them who were opted in. Okay, that means they really had a definite problem with their child and they were trying to find a solution. Out of the 60, only 6 of them got converted, but there were 54 who were qualified prospects, but they have not yet signed up with us. So what we did, we took these 54 prospects and put them into a drip campaign. Okay, and when we put, and remember, because he had now a series of 60-second videos which he was sharing. So we converted those 60-second, we were sharing those 60-second videos on a regular basis with the customer. Okay, and even if 2 out of each of these got converted per month, see what happens. The first month he had 54 qualified leads, okay, out of which 2 converted. The second month he had 52 of last month plus 54 of this month, and out of this now again that means 2 plus 2, 4 got converted. So if you see, if you keep cascading this over a period of time, okay, if you take the numbers without the drip campaign for the entire year, 3,600 leads, remember, for 300 leads, now it's 3,600 leads got converted into 72 clients. With the then this we had 648 qualified leads. We put them up and into the drip campaign. We did not lose them. We did not forget them. We put them into a drip campaign, and we just by doing the mathematics, we got each one of we got the conversion of 156 clients. That means through the drip campaign, he was able to get more business than he was able to get without the drip campaign. Okay, so the idea is we can continue this as long as the doctor had the capacity to address all of those, to address all the new customers. The time when he reached the top maximum capacity, we simply stopped the drip campaign. And once the number of leads reduced, we just restarted the drip campaign. Okay, so now food for thought. How do you actually follow up with your prospects? How often do you follow up? Next thing is, does your competition follow up? Because if your competition is following up and you are not following up, you're definitely getting lesser number of leads from conversions than the competitions. The other thing is, if the competition is not doing, then you definitely should start doing this immediately, because you will quickly capture the bigger portion of the prospects market out there. Okay, and remember this one, I gave you the example that this is the revenue and the increase profit per year. So you can, if you continue doing this, this can easily increase in a exponential manner and not in an arithmetic geography. So this is a huge opportunity for us, which we are not following. Now, for those of you who are not using social media or email, this is one place where there may be a cost attached. If you're not already using a paid email account, a paid email campaign. For those of you who are using paid email campaign, consciously sit down and plan out a drip campaign for your business. For those of you who are already using social media, make sure that your content is also clear, is actually designed as like a drip campaign. So your compelling offer, your incentive offer, you keep offering it to them on a week on week basis. Okay, so that's on drip campaign. Do you have any questions on drip campaigns?
One question.
Manish, too much following up could disturb the prospect and more may put us in the spam category. Yes, Manish, you are right about that. So the idea, there are 2-3 points on this. First is, what's your business? Second one is, how often do you follow up with your customer? And third one is, do you have an incentive offer? Because a customer would be happy to be educated and given information rather than emails going out to them saying, do you want to buy, do you want to buy, do you want to buy? So that is why the drip campaign is based on your compelling offer, which is your incentive information, which is your information based offers, not your incentive based offers. Incentive based is buy now, buy now, buy now. Information is based on the information that the customer needs to maybe make a decision. I hope I've answered that question for you. For those of you who needs more specific questions, specific answers, I will be sharing my calendar link. You can block a time with me to talk to me later on a one-to-one person. I'll try and address this solution, individual queries. Okay. So just give me a moment, please. 1 second. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So any more questions on drip campaigns? Okay. In that case, I'm going on to more transactions. Now, this I'm sure people are familiar with, upselling and cross-selling, right? Now, upselling, I'm sure you've seen many of these. Upselling is when we offer, this is a common example is your KFCs and your pizza stores, right? When you go to a KFC, they will ask you, or any burger place, they will ask you if you want to buy a jumbo a burger or something, right? So that is when they're trying to upsell. They're going to try and sell you the higher grade, higher size, higher quality, etc. Whereas cross-selling is when they try and offer you, do you want French fries? Do you want Pepsi, etc. along with that is the so a complementary product or a service, right? So now the main, I'm sure all of us are aware of this, but what's interesting is not all of us actually use this in our business. And the reality is that when a customer is ready to buy, if you ask them for, if you nudge them to buy something which is higher grade or higher size or higher quality, or offer them a additional product and service, the chances is 34% of them will actually buy. The problem is that we never ask them. And the best example is, think about your own self when you're standing in the queue of KFC or which is the other one, your pizza, or the pizza points, when they ask you those questions. There is at least 1/3 of the time when you're standing in the queue, when they ask you these questions, you say yes. You may be saying no 2/3. So think about your own business. What does 1/3 conversions, additional conversions for you mean for your business? Okay, so here's an example of how we actually helped a restaurant to do this. So they came to us saying that they are looking at increasing their transactions and their revenue profits and their profitability for their business. So here's what we did. Okay, we identified that there are 3 products which have the highest profits for them. First one is your starters, right? Your aperitifs. The second one is their beverage menu. And the last one is their dessert menu. These three had the highest profitability for them. So we said, how do we make sure that more of their customers buy these three products? So what did we do? We just did a very simple thing. We trained the staff to go about, uh, uh, sharing a trolley with all the starters and the beverages at the beginning of the meal. So when the customer comes in and before they place their first order, we would give them, we would bring the trolley would come with the beverages and this, and the manager would ask if they would like to order anything. Similarly, before they order for the bill, they again would bring another trolley with the desserts and ask if they would like to place an order for the desserts. And when we did this, simply what did we see was that the number of orders for the starters or the or the beverages or the desserts actually more than doubled. Because when somebody came around, first it was visible, they were able to see it, and that enticed them to want to place an order. And two, somebody actually asked them, right? So simple thing, it did not cost them anything. They just made sure that the team was trained to ask for this, right? So what did we do? We did, one was training, and two, we also trained the waiters to give a personal recommendation. And if you see, this very happens quite often when you go to a hotel, especially if you go to a premium hotel. The manager will try to give a personal recommendation of some of the dishes, and those dishes invariably are expensive dishes. These are the ones where they have a higher profit margins. So the idea is that you recommend these products or services to your customers, which will, there's a potential, a 1/3 times potential for them to actually buy more from you. Okay, so okay. So let me just put a stop here and ask you, how many of you think you can actually now try and see if you can implement a cross-selling or upselling for your business? Just give me a moment, please. Again, I'm sorry about that. Okay, any questions on cross-selling and upselling for your business? Anybody? So here's some points I wanted to think about, that your cross-selling or your upselling, they have to make sense to the customer. So you have to look at products which are related, connected, and it should seem natural and not pushy. And always look at in a way in which the customer gets an additional value out of this. So if you see the and I'm going to be using a bundling offer later on. Most of these, when you try to cross sell, if you look, the cost of the Pepsi is going to be lesser when you take it together than when you're taking it separately. So things about small things like this will does not make the customer feel pushy or pushed into buying to something. It's just a very natural way of saying, do you want a bigger cup of coffee? You want a smaller cup of coffee? If you go to Starbucks, they'll say, do you want some topping in it? Do you want some flavors? These are all of these. They have been trained to cross sell and upsell to the customers. So think about for your own business, especially if you have a sales team. I'm sure as entrepreneurs, you can now be thinking enough for yourself, but even if you have a sales team, think about what kind of offers that you can create, which will contribute towards upselling and cross-selling, and empower your sales teams with this. Okay, so I've already asked you these questions. Okay, So there's another way in which you can increase your transactions, that is by offering additional products and services to your customer. So the thought I want you to think is that which is more important, which is more profitable for your business? Getting more and more customers, or is it getting more offerings to the existing customers? Which one is more profitable? I generally do this on a face-to-face, so I get answers. So obviously that you do get a lot more benefits when you are trying to sell more to the existing customers. Yes, more offerings to the existing customers. So now if you go back, I spoke about joint ventures, right? Think about, again, look at what your customers want. It's also possible for you to add more products and services, even if you are not manufacturing or creating them. Through your joint venture, is it possible for you to add more products and services for your business so that you're able to increase the offerings to your customers, right? The other way is the upsell and cross sell. Again, the items that you're upselling or cross selling, it is not necessarily always that you have to provide that. It is so your joint ventures, your alliances can give you those products and services either one way, or you can go and buy it from somebody else and add your own little margin and then offer it to the customers. So so again, the idea is consciously think, how can you increase your offerings to your existing customers? What else in your product and service offerings do your customers buy? And then right now they're not buying from you because you don't have it, or because you've never thought about offering it. So think about these two and see if there are other products and services which you can offer for your additional products and services which you can offer for your customers. Okay. So again, joint ventures I've already said, and this you can see how it will increase your revenue for your business. Any questions till now on this? So we have covered more leads. We've covered more conversion, more transactions, and more conversions. Then now we're going to be looking into higher prices. Any questions on this till now? No? Okay, great. So now let's look at higher pricing. Now this is one of the most controversial idea for businesses, right? They're always thinking higher prices. Why? If I increase my price, I'm sure my customers will stop doing business with me. I'm going to lose my customers. They will go to the competition. This is the most common reaction that I get when I'm talking about higher price. But the reality is this. One, let's say that today you're going and buying a burger for 150 rupees. You go there and tomorrow the client, the price of the burger becomes 155 rupees. Are you going to get away from, and if you like the place, the burger from there, are you going to just walk off from there and say, I'm not going to come and buy 155 rupees wala burger? From 5 rupees, increase 5 rupees. The reality is no, we don't do that. And the customers who are actually going to go away, who are going to get up and walk away and think this is 5 rupees, this increase, these are the customers who would any which way leave you the moment the competition comes and gives a product for 145 rupees. Okay, two things. So first, that it's a small increment, you will not lose customers. Second, if the customers whom you do lose, okay, will actually are the ones you were anyway going to be losing in your. Let me give you some examples and let's figure this out. Okay. Now, the first point I want you to think about is that when the customers are only looking at the price, it is because they are not able to distinguish the value that you are providing from what you are giving and what the competition is giving. Going back to the equation, I spoke about interruption, engage, educate. Educate is that place where you are distinguishing yourself from the competitor. If you are not doing the educate and you just are directly jumping into interrupt and offer, okay, that's the time your customers are going to be looking at only price, because you've not given them any other differentiation. So the price is the easiest way for them to differentiate. Okay, so first of all, if check and see if you're the value that you're providing. First of all, are you providing a value to your customer or not? Second, is the value important for your customer or not? I'll give you an example. I was talking to a business owner who was in the space of what was the word she said? These are sustainable clothes and zero waste products. Okay, so she's a apparel designer for women, and her clothes were manufactured in a sustainable manner, and they were not using any products that will harm the environment. So when I asked her, she came to me with a challenge saying that, Neetu, I have my existing customers really love me, but I'm finding it very difficult to get new customers. Okay. And so we were talking about questions, and we realized one thing. I asked her, what is the USP? What is different from you? What is the value that you're providing to your customers? She said, we are providing this sustainable clothing with zero waste. I said, first of all, how many of your competition is saying the same? And she had some very interesting points that the competition is actually, they're talking about it, but they're not doing it. They're using chemicals which is still harmful for the environment. So my point here, if you're in the same situation, is that a potential customer who does not know you or competition, okay, but they hear both of you saying it, they will assume that both of you are in the same bucket, even if the other competition is not doing it, but they're only talking about it. Unfortunately, for the customer, it's not visible. So that means they are thinking that both of you are doing the same thing. That means both of you are providing the same value. The next thing that they will look is for the price. Okay. So in this case, when we started breaking it down and understanding what one is that the value was not very clear. Second one is that, is the value important? So I asked her, will a customer go out and shop only because they want to buy sustainable clothes, or will they go out and buy for other reasons? By the way, that product which she's buying is also sustainable is the secondary decision. We broke it down, and we realized that is the truth. And this business was actually doing some very good work to increase the quality of their product, but they were not talking about it. So we flipped it. What did we do? We said that the primary value, which was important to the customer, was all these great things, quality things, which this customer, which this apparel owner was doing it. So we spoke about that first. And then we said, by the way, all our products are also built on a sustainable manner, right? So that was still a value differentiation, but it was a second value differentiation. So that way, she was able to clearly define herself as being different from the customer in a manner which was important to the customer. So only sustainable clothing was not important, but all of these other features which made it of a higher quality product, plus the sustainable together, was a higher value. And at that time, the customer does not mind paying a small premium for that product. So that means they saw the value, and the value was important for them. So these are two things I wanted to look into it. That
one question is there.
Yes. Can't we have a product choices for all income levels to increase volumes? Sibi, if you have a business and a size of the business where you can create different product choices, a larger product choices to address all income levels, then it is, yes, it's possible. But not everybody can afford to have a larger larger types of inventory for different price points. Okay, so at that time what you need to do is look at your at the best type of ideal kind of customers that you want to cater. See, if you're a very large organization and you've got customers from, let's say, the lower middle class, the middle class, and the upper class, I'm just making three divisions, and you have the capability to produce products of different value for each of these segments, give them a separate price tags and give it across, fine, that's the best solution. But the reality is not all of us can actually do that. So you select one customer, ideal customer segment, and say, I am going to work with this. I'm going to put my resources to go and get these kind of customers, because for my business that is most profitable, and whatever value that I'm providing, this segment of customers will easily relate to it. Okay, giving the example of the apparel one, her product was of high quality, her manufacturing cost was high, that means the price tag was high. Now that's why, so she was clear that I have to look at the upper middle class and the rich, the super rich, who are going to be coming for this, right? So for her, based on her, she did not have the capability of manufacturing cheaper products on a larger scale, because she was using her production was limited, so that she didn't have the advantages of volume and bargain pricing, right? So she, because of the way her business is, so she was only looking at the mid-size, upper middle class, etc., and that's it, right? So same thing goes for all of you. Identify which customer segment is the most profitable for you. One is most profitable, that means these are the guys who are ready to pay the money that you want, that will increase your profit. Two, it's easier for you to reach them also. So for example, I want to reach out to the CEOs of the large top 500 corporates around the globe. They are going to be the most profitable for my business, but it's going to be very, very difficult for me to reach out to them, right? So the practical truth is I may not be able to reach somebody like that. I may reach a different segment. It's more easier for me to reach out. So it's not just the profitability, but also how easy or difficult it is for you with your limited resources to reach this ideal customer. Third one is how you're able to show a value which is important to them, right? So if the sustainable products is not important to them, then they will not buy it. Sustainable products being the primary value is not important to them. The secondary value is important to them. So these things you need to get to know. So if you see, all of these things boil down to understanding your customers very, very well. And that's one of my favorite subjects. I'm actually writing my second book on that. So if anybody's interested to run programs or understanding how do you get to know your customers, what are they ready to pay for, what are they not ready to pay for, why do they stick with you, why do they don't stick with you, all of those things. There's a complete framework for you to understand your customer and define your solutions around this. So I hope I've answered that question. Okay, and if I haven't, please reach out to me individually and I'll try to answer that to you. Okay, so now let's get back to this. So for you, the point is, price becomes the only can become very important to your customer when your value is not clear. You yourself as a consumer, you will go to a darshini also and eat, and you will also go to a let's say a bigger restaurant also and eat. You may be eating the same dishes, but there are different prices at each of these places, right? The value that you perceive of the food in a darshini versus in a restaurant is going to be different. So the value differentiation should be very clear, and you will realize that the customer is ready to pay additional price for that. And remember, offering discounts alone does not increase value. Okay, if the value, like I gave the example of the clothes, apparel, what she was doing, the way she was there were small features, which is unfortunately it's confidential. I cannot share that with you. There were small things that she was doing, which was increasing the quality of her product, and she was conveying that to her customers. After that, if she offers discount, it's then, customer may have a value, but only the discount on its own is not at all, it will not increase your value, because the moment you do only discounting without showing any value, you yourself are forcing the customer to look at only the price. Okay, let me show you the example. Let me show you this as an example. Okay, we have here, how do I, okay, so we have here a table. So let's say that we have a product whose price is 1,000 rupees. Okay, and the cost for you to produce, sell, and deliver is 700 rupees. Then you have a margin of 30%. That is you're getting a 300 rupees per product. Okay, now when you offer a discount of 10%, what happens? Your price becomes 900. So what happens to your new net profit margin? Okay, any idea? Here, new net profit margin actually becomes, so out of 1,000, now you're getting a price of 900. So your new net profit is 22.22%. That means you have a 200, you are earning 200 rupees per unit instead of 300 rupees by offering a discount of 10%. But your entire net profit from 30% has gone down to 22.22%. Okay. Now, if you need to earn the same amount of, if you need to earn 10,000 rupees from these products, okay, in profits, only profits, I'm saying, at the original price, you needed to sell 33.33%. But at the discounted price, you now need to sell 50%, 50 units, sorry. So that is say 34 units you needed to pay. You needed to sell 33 units when you were having the original price of 1,000 rupees. But when you discounted it and brought it down by 10% and brought the price as 900, you need to sell now 50 units to make the same 10,000 rupees profit. So the point I want to say is that that's nearly about 50% additional units. Now, when you were not able to sell at the 33 units, from where is it possible for you to sell another 50%? And this is what happens when there is only, when you're looking at only discounts. You have not increased the value, you have not increased your proposition, you've just taken and given a discount, and you think you're going to make more profits. So this is what happens when you look at discounting as the only way to attract a customer. You have to sell more, obviously, but the logic is, and then many a time I've heard this, after giving discounts also, my customers are not buying from me. That is because the value is not yet clear. And if you're in that bucket, if you are having this, or maybe you've given a discount, the first time it's worked, second time it's not working, the reason is only simple. The value is not clear. Okay. Here's another food for thought for you, that in today's world, at least customers are looking, nothing less than 40% discount is attractive to them. So when I gave you an earlier example, with 10%, you had to sell 50% more. With 40% discount, no matter how much more you'll have to sell to make the same amount of profits. So my point here is stop discounting and start innovating in the way in which you're creating value for your customers. So here is one way of creating that value. Okay, this is called bundling. I gave you the earlier example of the burger and the Coca-Cola, right? What are you doing? You're creating a package. The package increases the perceived value, so that the prospects buy more. Here the key word is perceive. So they perceive that they're getting more out of it, and that is why they buy more of this, and that is why you're able to sell 50% more units. That's one way of looking at it. Or they're increasing their profit. I'm going to show you an example. Again, this is a restaurant. Now, in this restaurant, the cost of a meal is 3,000 rupees. Okay. Now, this restaurant offers a discount of 25%, and that means the customer gets 200, gets this meal for 2,250. Now, this was restaurant A1. A second restaurant who is also offering a meal for 3,000 rupees. What they do is they say, we are going to give you additional wine and dessert free. Okay, we're not giving you a discount, but we're giving you an additional wine and dessert free. So which one do you think got more business? I already shared the answer here. So it's the restaurant 2 who got more business. Now, whenever I gave this example, customers always ask me, or the participants always ask me, how is it possible for the restaurant to make this kind of, to be able to give kind of an offer? Okay, so before we go there, let's look at what is happening in the customer's mind who go to the restaurant. When they see the restaurant 1, they see with 25% discount. That means they're winning. They're getting an advantage of 750 rupees. But for restaurant 2, let's say the price of the wine is 1,000 and the price of the dessert is 500. Okay, so if they look at the menu, they will see that they're getting these two free. So for the customer, the perception is that I'm getting an additional value of 1,500, double the value from restaurant 1. And that is why I'm going there. Restaurant 2 is getting more business. Okay, now let's figure out how can the second restaurant actually afford this. So the answer to that is for you to know your costs very, very clearly. So let's say that the bulk price of the wine is 350 rupees and the in-house cost of the dessert is 100 rupees. So what's happening? When restaurant 1 was giving discount, they were losing out revenue of 750 rupees per meal. But for restaurant 2, they were spending additional 450 rupees, which is the 350 for the wine and 100 for the dessert, which they were not charging and they were giving the customer free of cost, right? But what did they do when they spent 450 rupees? They increase the perceived value of the bundle to the customer, because of which the sales increased, and it created a win-win situation for both the customer and the business. So instead of losing 750 rupees per meal, they spent lesser amount, which is only 450, but they got more sales also. This is the value of bundling. So rather than just discounting and thinking that you're giving some value to the customer, try out bundling. Okay, and this is what can create a unique buying proposition for your customers. Now, so here I want you to any questions on bundling? Any questions on bundling? This is a very powerful model. Again, it's not going to cost you like what you're thinking, right? It's the idea for bundling is always bundle a product which is a lower cost for you with the product which is a higher cost. Bundle a product which has lesser demand than with a product that has a higher demand. This is a good combination to create, to ensure that you get more profitability. Now, a lot of us will see this in other businesses. When you look at combo meals, or when you are booking a flight ticket and you look at, they'll tell or even movie tickets today, they'll ask you to pick up the meal also along with this. They're actually using the bundling strategy. All of these businesses are using it. So think about it for your own business. Can you create a bundle where the perceived value is higher for the customer? Any questions on bundling? No. So if you see, we increase the price not by just simply blindly increasing the price. That's one way to do this. What I'm looking at, we've increased the price by creating a bundle offer rather than creating a discounted offer. Okay. And there are a lot more ways in which you can increase the price. Again, it's there in the book. You will see some more. I've just picked up these today because we have limited time to do this. Now, let's look at the last one, is how to get more profits. So we finished more leads, more conversions, more transactions, higher pricing. Now let's look at how do we get more profits. Now, every business can increase their profits in two ways. One is by decreasing the cost, and one is by increasing the revenue. But till now, I have shared many examples on how in the ways in which you can increase the revenue. Now, let me look at how you can decrease the costs. Now, this is a simple method which is called the wastage audit. A large number of larger organizations actually do this. The irony is the SMEs and the smaller companies don't do this. Okay, so here's what does this wastage audit does. It takes various areas in which we can reduce our wastage. Okay, how do we, and this may focus on how do we decrease costs. So let's look at your finances. Now, for those of you who are paying out huge interests on loans, I'm sure you know this already, but it's something which we don't. It's not a decision that we take easily, so that's why it's always getting postponed. There are banks out there who are ready to take over your existing loans at as a reduced interest rate based on your paying behavior. So is it time for you to explore that? The other one, those of you are using OT facilities. Again, have you shopped around and seen other banks and what are their interest rates? Because things have been changing and banks have become very competitive, right? So if you tell them that I'm ready to transfer my business, but this is my OT over there, this is my interest rates, there are a lot of banks out there who are ready to change that, or to reduce that for you and get you on board. So ask your finance team to look into this, right? That's what's first one. Suppliers, especially in the last 2.5, 3 years, we have all experienced increase in price. So many of our suppliers have actually increased the price by small percentages, which is what I'm also advising you to do. By increase, you can start by increasing your price just by 1%, 2%. You will not lose customers. The same thing your suppliers are also doing. Okay, now what's happening is when you're looking at that, you see, for you as a business, when you keep ignoring this 1% small percentages which is increasing with multiple suppliers, together it builds up a lot for you. And in case if your volumes have increased in the last 2-3 years from purchases have increased from your suppliers, this is the time for you to go back and renegotiate contracts. It's very interesting because I work with some of the larger SMEs. The moment when we look at it and we ask the finance team to give us a list of areas where we can reduce our wastage, I invariably get 10-15 such lists from them, out of which they say, okay, you know what, these 3 or 4 we will not do it because our relationship is more important, etc. But these are another 3 or 4 areas where we can definitely reduce our wastage. So so please go and look into these areas. Inventory, again, like somebody was saying, if you have a huge inventory because you've tried to address different customer segments, different price points, go back and look at the cost of that inventory. Okay, cost of building that inventory, cost of maintaining that inventory. Another example I was talking about was there's this another organization that is in the space of building creating the large size clothings for men and women. They're known for that. So when the business head went and he did a look through at all the inventory, he identified that the irony is this, that their biggest sale was in the medium and large size, but because they were known as a brand for extra large or big size, they had inventory for XL, double XL, triple XL also. The irony was that the inventory was sitting for a long time, it was not actually moving. So they decided, when they looked at them, the cost of inventory was very high. They decided that they are not going to position themselves as exclusive only extra large size or large size brand. They are going to talk about the fact that they are a fashion brand, plus they also cater to the large size. So change the position because they realized when they went and looked at the inventory that the numbers were telling a different story. So I wanted to go back and look at your inventory. For those of you who are in the physical product business, look at your inventory, look at your past data, see the patterns, see which inventory is moving fast, is that, and see which inventory is moving slow. The ones which is moving slow, bundle them. The one which is moving fast, can you look at upselling that or increasing the price tag for those products? The ones which are not moving at all, if it is not selling even with bundling, can you stop having that inventory? Look at or move it to a different geography. It may not be moving in tier one city, can you move it to a tier 2 city? So again, these are all existing strategies with businesses, large businesses are doing. Look into that. Inventory stories will give you so many different areas in which you can save your money. Trading hours and business premises, these are related, especially for in the last 2-3 years, a lot of us have shut down our physical premises. We're working from different locations. Yes, we've gone online. So those of you who haven't, look at the cost of it and see if there is something that you can save over there. Staff outputs, again, something which large organizations are always looking at performance of the staff. SMEs and smaller organizations, we have failed to do that. Look at the performance of your team. If there is somebody who is not performing and you've been carrying that weightage, reconsider that. And if there is somebody who's really performing well, consider how you can retain that person, retain and give them more responsibilities. So both of these things are being looked into. And lastly, eliminate the invisible. Especially in today's world of SaaS model, a lot of us have subscribed to so many different software platforms which we are not using. Okay, go there, check it out, do a check your outflow, cash outflow, see where you're not, where the money is going on a regular basis, you're not even using the product or the services. And if they are subscription, which you're not using, email news subscription, you've got app subscriptions, even your mobile bills, Zoom subscriptions. If you're not using these things on a regular basis, eliminate them. And you will see that you will be able to, generally, when we do this wastage audit, I have seen that people are able to at least reduce their costs, these kind of costs, when you look at all of these, by 10%. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the strategies piece of it. Any questions till now, what I have shared? Any questions on whatever I have shared till now?
Participants, please share your questions.
No questions.
Please go on, Neetu. Yeah, one question is there.
How long will it take to receive the ebook? Instantaneously, you put your email over there, it will be in your inbox. Please check your spam folder or your also, because it is automated. Okay, so now let me just go to the last piece of it. Okay, the next the question always is what's next. So like for, I think the person has already answered that. I would suggest please go to the website, to my website, and download the book. Coachingforbusiness.in is the website. You can download that and you can get access to the book immediately. It's an ebook. All the case studies that I've spoken about today are included in that. There, plus there is a lot more additional which I've not covered in this, right? So go ahead and see which one of these you can use for your business. The next thing is that I, as a business coach, I offer 3 different types of interventions. One, I run online courses. And if you follow me on my LinkedIn, you will be getting all the information about the public workshops that I keep doing. I also have a complete online e-marketing, e-learning platform. So if you want to, you want access to it, I can also reach out to me. I run group coaching programs for entrepreneurs, which have a very structured program. I'll share some details with you. I also do one-to-one individual coaching across India, Africa, and US. These two are an example of, these are 2 group mentoring programs that we have just finished in the last quarter. The first one, Reinvention Framework for Business Growth, is meant for larger SMEs who are in the growth stage. And me and Cherian, both of us work together, and we run, this was an 8-week program. And then we also have early stage companies, organizations, and this is a 60 days challenge for growth. This was a 5-week program. So we've just finished this in the month of April and June. So April and March. We did it in January, March, and this. So now we're going to be announcing our next one in August. So again, reach out to me on LinkedIn. You'll get all the details whenever the next dates are announced.
There's a question from Shankar Ram,
which is, what's the question? I don't have
upsell or cross sell, which is better for regular customers?
Shankar, good question. Okay, what is your business into, Shankar? Because it depends on the business that you're doing, and it also depends on your own inventory. For example, if you are in the business of, let's say, a restaurant, cross sell makes more sense for you. Okay, it depends on your inventory. So if you have only one type of product, then upselling is going to be difficult. Okay, today if you go to any of the SaaS products, including Google or Zoom, they are actually they give you these 3 plans, right? Basic, intermediate, and advanced. That's an example of them trying to upsell you. If you go to Zoom, you buy, you subscribe for Zoom emails, they will try to sell you Zoom books, Zoom CRM, all of those. That's cross sell. Now, when Zoom Zoho, I'm sorry, I'm using Zoom, Zoho. When Zoho started only with email, they did not have cross-selling options because they did not have other products. So they would just try to upsell you to go in for a larger, for more emails, for more subscription, more number of units, etc. Right? Once they started having other products, they started doing cross-selling. So it depends on that. Second thing is for your customers. Now, if you're selling flowers, that's your product, okay? And then suddenly you try to start selling them a holiday package. there is no relationship over there. So from the customer's perspective, there has to be some kind of a relationship between what you're upselling or cross-selling also. So I think it's a combination of the business and the customer over here. If you tell me specifically what is your product and what kind of customers that you are targeting, then I can give you a better answer. Okay. So then next one, okay, I was talking about the group mentoring and the public programs. So these are things that I keep announcing. I think the next one is coming up. The last one is something called a profit acceleration. So in this, we use a software. This is a screenshot of the acceleration that I do. We do a screen, we actually run an assessment. This is done on a one-to-one basis for your business only. So we run an assessment with the founding team, and we identify which are the areas of growth for your business. And you get a report like this, which including an implementation roadmap for your business, right? So if anybody is interested in doing that an assessment, so you know in advance whether you should do drip campaign for your business, whether you should do upselling on cross-selling, what kind of compelling offer you should do. So you get an understanding of all of these things. So you can get an assessment done. After the assessment, you can go ahead and, since you've read the book, you've attended the workshop, you can do this on your own. Or if you need my help, then you can refer to me also. So these are the things. Lastly, this is my website. This is my contact details. My email is neetu@coachingforbusiness.in. You can check out my two websites, academyforbusiness.in, which is my e-learning platform, and Coaching for Business, which is the coaching business that I do there. Okay. You can also reach out to me on my LinkedIn under the name of Neetu V. Bansal. So with that, I have come to an end of my session. Not bad. I actually managed to do that before time. Any questions that I can help you out with now, I'm happy to share to answer them for you.
Yeah, participants, please share your questions if you have any.
No?
We have 10 more minutes actually.
I was very conscious about the time today.
Yeah.
So in case because typically when I do the sessions, when I'm in between, when we keep asking questions, I get especially downselling, bundling. These are all very powerful strategies which we don't think about for our business.
Okay.
So we get a lot of questions around these. So I think we have a very smart audience today. Yeah, they're very clear on what on the entire thing. Or I have been exceptionally good today. There's no questions.
Yeah. Then I think we can
wrap this up.
Yeah. Yeah, one question is there. No, it is not question.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I forgot. For those of you who are interested in reaching out for a one-to-one session with me, I'm just putting this up in the chat.
Chat, yeah.
Oh, I put it up in the chat, or I put in the Q&A. Where do I put this up?
No, you can put it in the chat.
Okay. So this is a link to my calendar. For those of you who want to discuss specific business challenges, then you can just book this is a 30 minutes session with me. Just book the slot with me, and then we can get into a one-to-one discussion. Thank you, Arun.
Yeah, then we can wind up. I think
yes.
no more questions from the participants. Yeah. Thank you.
you.
And yeah, on behalf of Thai Kerala, thank you, Neetu, for an extremely informative and valuable session, and sparing your valuable time with us. And once
I'm
again,
happy to do it.
yeah, and thank you all the attendees for your active participation. And special thanks to Thai Surat and Thai Bhubaneswar, Thai Andhra Pradesh and Thai Coimbatore, Thai Kolkata for partnering and supporting this event. Yeah, and wishing you all a pleasant weekend. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Thai Kerala, for giving me this opportunity. I'll see you around again soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.